Hi, Mac.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you? Happy New Book Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday is always a fun day.
What is Kyle wearing on his face? It's Marvel time. I know what you're trying to say. You're trying to say it's time for Marvel. It's Marvel time. Oh,
I'm sure those are song lyrics in some way. I just
right, right. I mean, I know very little about music, but in any case, hi Kyle. Good to have you with us. So we're gonna talk new comics. It's King of Black all day, all night this week.
Yep. Lots more King in Black to get into this week.
Cool. So let's get started. There's no King of Black mainline title, but we got sort of the closest thing with a creepy cover for Venom number 33.
Yeah,
Not a
definitely.
lot to do with the actual episode issue, but it's still creepy nonetheless.
Yeah, there was a lot of creepy art in general throughout these comics this week. So
Apparently, Flight of the Conchords.
okay, I think I can hear it.
Okay.
So yeah, Venom number 33. This was fun. This was a good start, and we always talk about how we get the order for the tie-ins to see what order we're supposed to read them in. I don't think it really mattered. I think we could have picked up any issue first this week, but yeah, this is where they have us start as far as the checklist goes. This was it was a good issue. It feels like this is the most important series, like you said, outside of the actual King in Black line. Like this has the most impact on the overall story, I think, and I like where it's going. It's pretty dark, as most of this overall story is. So, and being a huge Venom fan, I really like that aspect of it. So this was fun. What do you think?
This is my pick of the week.
Okay.
It had everything I kind of want in a comic book. It's got great storytelling, family sort of drama in the broad sense of the word, a twist at the end. It's kind of all taking place in Eddie Brock's perspective of things, but it's not which seems to be what the Venom title is doing, while King of Black seems to be more of like out in the field. But there's still a lot of stuff going on here with Dylan, and there's some great stuff between Dylan and Peter Parker.
Mm-hmm.
And I just really enjoyed the issue. To me, it was peak comic book, right? Like there's a lot of good issues this week, but this one was the most fun read. Now, granted, I read it first, and sometimes that causes me to have a little bit of a bias, but I really enjoyed this issue.
Yeah, it opens up with like a classic Spidey being Spidey moment, giving that whole like inspirational speech to a young, super powered individual. So that was a really cool opening to this book. This also, you mentioned a twist ending. This does what this story has been doing. Gives you hope, and makes you think things are going to start turning around, and then it just rips it away in like the most dramatic way possible. And it's really, it's been a really fun read because I don't know how it keeps getting me. I'm still, every single issue just keeps getting me that way. You would think I would have caught on by now.
Yeah, but, it's funny because like you would think a lot of these there's only so many ways to twist a comic book, and so those become tropes. And it's not that if you read it on paper you'd be like, oh, that's such a big twist, but the way they set it up, it's just so brilliantly architected, whatever you built, I guess, designed. it's structured in a way where it matters. As I said, if I told you what the ending was, you'd be like, okay, right. But it's how you got there, and not so much manipulation, but just the emotional journey you go through in the book that really makes it hit.
Yeah, and by the way, I'm not even sure I could tell you exactly what happened in the end of this book without context. So yeah, can't even spoil it if I tried, really. I also want to point out there was some really, really awesome art in this issue too. There were a couple of like whole page panels that I really, really enjoyed. So definitely check out the art of this book for sure.
Yeah. Continuing King in Black, we got Marauders. An X-Men title, but this is not a part of the regular series. This is sort of a standalone. one-off story, kind of telling what the Marauders are doing. Trying to rescue the X-Men that have been sort of venomized, but doesn't really tell that story as much as tells a different story. It's like a funny thing happened on the way to the farm. It's about getting there. I thought this was a good book. There were some, I don't know. I felt like the beginning and the end were great. The middle was just a little too, I think, I don't even know what the word I'm looking for is, but it got a little too sappy. Like, I get, if you're of a certain age, after school, especially kind of in the middle there. And it's okay. I'm okay with comic books having a message, but it's just like, you got to kind of embed it a little bit better in the storyline than I think this one did. But I loved what it said at the beginning. I loved what it said at the end. To me, it just got a little preachy in the middle. Not that it was preaching a bad message. It just didn't fit a comic book, or at least the King in Black story, which is all about crazy comic book fun.
Yeah, so I'm going to do something that we don't normally do. That's very atypical for us. This is my pick of the week.
I'm not surprised. If it wasn't for Venom, this still would have been my pick of the week. Like, this was definitely the runner-up, but that's what separated. I love this story. I just felt the second act, if it was just 10% a little bit more well constructed, like the Venom book was, I would have. This would have definitely been my pick of the week. So we're not that far off. I just trying to be a little more, critical than I normally am. But I did love this issue. I just felt Venom was paced better.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair. And I actually had a really hard time making my pick of the week this week because I didn't feel that any one issue was a real standout. I thought we had a lineup of 5 really strong books that I really liked all of them. But Marauders, to me, I think still has, and we talked about, again, the X-Men adjacent books are not at the top of our list on a weekly basis. But Marauders is the one title that I really enjoyed based on the characters that they've assembled here. I guess Kate Pride, now she's no longer Kitty, is
She'll always be Kitty to me.
She's become a very entertaining character. I thought this was the funniest book this week. Even if Kate did take a shot at both New Jersey and Florida in one single panel, that one hurt a little bit. But aside from that, no, I really enjoyed this book. We got Lockheed just lighting up dragons, so that was fun. I really like the side story. This feels like the biggest tie-in to me, really, because you have this whole thing happening mainly in New York, right, as most huge Marvel stories are. But you have the island of Krakoa, which is just loaded with powerful mutants, and for the most part, they're abstaining from joining in this fight. You got Magneto and Charles Xavier and all these other mutants out of the fight. The Marauders are going in to save Cyclops and Storm, who have been nullified, if you will. So they're obviously a little bit involved, but they could be helping in a much bigger way. And it's interesting to see sort of the politics side of the Marvel Universe in this issue. And I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it's a very brief exchange, but I love the stuff between Bishop and Beast in this one.
Yeah.
We gotta recognize someone from the Netherlands watching. That's
wow. Very cool.
So next we've got Gwenom versus Carnage. So why don't you talk about it while I figure out why my computer's not responding?
Yeah, so this was the second issue in this series, this Gwen Stacy tie-in issue here. Not particularly my favorite. It's fun because it's symbiote fight. There's always going to give you some awesome art and a fun story. But to me, Gwen, this one ties in the least, I think, which is kind of weird because it's 2 symbiotes. This should tie in. This should have the biggest connection, really, aside from maybe Venom. But Gwen just kind of feels overmatched. She feels like she's in way over her head, which is fair for some characters. But I feel like her, being as connected as she should be, feels like out of place for her. I don't know if you got the same feel from this book.
Yeah, I enjoyed very rarely do you get to see Gwen of any form and MJ in any form kind of interact in a superhero way. So I thought that was kind of a neat take. I felt it dragged a little bit long. Like, we get it. You guys have a history with Peter Parker, but, and not even our Peter Parker. But Kyle wants to know if the inner monologue was better in this issue than the last. I think so.
Yeah, I think so too, because it wasn't setting up the whole story. It was kind of just in the moment in this fight. So yeah, it was a little bit different.
But yeah, I would say because I enjoyed it fine. I think it would have been better as a one shot.
Yeah, I can see that.
I don't know if there's enough there, especially since they're just kind of keep battling each other. I mean, maybe it gets somewhere, but next we have King of Black. Speaking of one shot, from King of Black, Black Knight, which is not what I expected it to be at all.
No, I would agree.
I expected it to be kind of like a Captain Britain kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
This one's got a strong sense of humor while also being very depressing.
Yeah. Yeah, Black Knight is a very interesting character, at least this iteration, Dane Whitman. He's kind of being played up as like he's crazy, more or less losing his mind. But this one coming off of Gwenom versus Carnage, this is the complete opposite, right? This has the biggest connection to King in Black as a whole. We've been leading up to this with Symbiote Spider-Man, we've been learning that the Ebony Blade is going to play a huge role in this. And I think the thing that surprised me most about this issue was sort of the timeline of it, because we had been reading Symbiote Spider-Man, and I thought this was going to pick up around there, but I guess we are just jumping into current events, and now Dane doesn't exactly know what's going on, I guess, because of that whole crazy personality issue. But I really liked this one. I love the like you said, the humor in this. He's got this narration going with this old English style, but yet doesn't quite know exactly how to use that style of language. So pretty funny. And yeah, a lot of really cool action in this one too. So it was a good issue.
And next we've got Return of the Valkyries, #2, written by Jason Aaron. So really obviously gets into the Thor mythology, if the title didn't give you the hint. Kind of combining that sort of the Valkyries of the recent universe.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of this one?
I like this. I like, there's a lot of different directions this is going. I guess it kind of pulled together at the end, but I like that they're branching out with these different characters. Again, a little bit funnier than I expected from this title, but very entertaining all throughout. They made some interesting connections, and I think this connection was already made going back to some of the earlier Venom comics in this ongoing series. But interesting connection made to Nowhere, the planet that we know from the MCU, or the quote unquote planet, I guess the mining colony, whatever you want to call it. I'm just gonna, that's a little potential connection for the MCU to bring in Null in the future. Just throwing that out there. I like
figure out that rights deal, right? Like, is it Marvel? Is it Spider-Man?
Yeah, who knows with that? I couldn't even begin to tell you. This issue gives a great explanation, though, in like one single line, explaining that there are two battles taking place here, one in life and then one in the after. I think that was a really great line to explain what's happening, especially after the first issue in this series where we saw the Sentry lost again. Well, he's really gone from the absolute top to just the complete bottom, I guess, dying twice in one story. But yeah, I really like this one. I like where it's going. I like that we are fighting on two separate planes now, and interested to see how the Valkyries impact the overall story.
Yeah, I was surprised Sentry didn't rear his head. But I'm not super familiar with, and this is just me, Jason Aaron's Thor run kind of hit a part of when, like, a very small window where I wasn't reading comics. And so, but I like how they're able to tell essentially a Thor story, an Asgard story or whatever. But but still use the Nowhere connection to kind of connect it to King in Black, which I think is cool. You know, a lot of the events of recent time have been like one or two creators, like superstar creators, and then, you know, like they bring in a lot of newer writers or whatever, but the sort of big writers keep just doing what they're doing. But I mean, we've already had Jason Aaron, Chip Zdarsky, like we've had some really big Marvel creators play in King in Black, which really makes it feel like a bigger story than just sort of, you know, what events have become, you know, as of late.
Yeah, it helps when like every ongoing series has a tie-in issue to this story. That really brings in every creator Marvel has on staff at this point.
So next, I want to talk to you a little about what WandaVision. I know you get to share your opinion on Zacks of Life and Marvel Mondays, but this might have like the best episode name fitting what is happening, because we had the 50s episode, or you know, the 60s episode, the 70s episode, you know, give or take, and then they're like, no, you know, we interrupt your program. Wanda is barely in this, Vision's barely in this, but now you're seeing everything from the Jimmy Woo, Darcy side of the equation. Mm-hmm. Someone forgot to tell Disney Springs because they went ahead and released the 80s but you know, I mean, as a Marvel fan, like I had no problem kind of waiting, be patient, and I enjoyed, you know, I knew we were going to get somewhere, but you know, I think more casual fans were kind of like, is this Marvel? What's going on here? Is this silly? You know, not necessarily everybody, but you would see that on the internet. But you know, I think you know, it was definitely the most Marvel episode yet, and really kind of, I mean, you go from the blip or the snap or whatever you want to call it, and you know, you have you know, Sword pop up as a fully breathed out thing. You know, Jimmy Woo returns. It kind of, I'm curious to see moving forward how the two worlds kind of combine into one narrative, but.
Yeah, we got like that sneak peek or mid-season trailer for what we're going to see in the future. I don't know how much is from which episodes or whatever, but yeah, we kind of see how they're starting to kind of break through the fourth wall, more or less, and it's going to be very interesting. I'm curious as to your thoughts here. Is Wanda the villain? Is she a villain? Is she?
Yeah, I mean, I think in the simplest terms, I think she is. You know, this is her heel turn, to use a wrestling term, which I don't watch wrestling, but I know that it's a great term. You know, I think they conveyed it not necessarily in sort of oblique ways, but you know, they definitely reference House of M. There's even sort of a musical reference in the credits. I think, you know, I'm not saying she's going to end that way, right, but I could definitely see her being the one that breaks reality and causes all the stuff that we're anticipating. You know, especially, I don't know. You know, I think looking back on episode 3, the way she laments Pietro, it makes you wonder, like, okay, you know, like what's going to happen there? I think, you know, not that it just, looking back, it almost seems, since nothing has been an accident in this show, that can't be an accident.
Right. Yeah, no, I'm honestly ruling out any coincidence at this point. I feel like everything is connected. I feel like, you know, the meme of Charlie Day with the board behind him with all the strings attached, that's me right now trying to watch this show and piece everything together. But yeah, I would agree. I think, yes, I agree with Kyle as well, that image is still haunting. But I agree that at least for right now, Wanda is a villain. Maybe she's not the villain of this series, and things might change. They could change, or she could be a villain going forward. She's going to be involved in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Who knows? She might be playing an antagonistic role in that as well.
So this, can I go on my crazy theory here?
I'm all for it.
So I got to look it up, but if you read the plot point, like the official sort of log line for Multiverse of Madness. I want to say it's something like, okay, Dr. Stephen Strange's continuing research on the Time Stone is hindered by a friend-turned-enemy, resulting in Strange unleashing an unspeakable evil. I think we presumed that Mordo was the friend-turned-enemy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I wonder if it's Wanda.
Yeah, that might have been honestly a brilliant play. That they been thinking this through since that post-credit scene with Doctor Strange, setting up to make us think it was Mordo that's going to be playing the villain, and yet, you know, it was Wanda all along. I'm excited. I can't wait. I want to say real quick, we related kind of. We did the park walk and talk yesterday. It was Jeremiah and myself, and we debated whether or not Wanda is a villain. And I'm thinking his thought, he says no, she's not a villain, and that would probably only be because she's having her strings pulled, right? Maybe, I mean, it's evidence is stocking up here that makes it seem like Mephisto is going to show up in this series, maybe. But I would argue, even if somebody is pulling the strings, does that not still make her a villain? Don't we refer to the Winter Soldier as a villain in the, you know? So I don't know.
I don't know that everything, you know, world ain't that black and white, but exactly. You know, and you also don't know what she knows. You know, I mean, her power set's so huge that you could see someone, as she often did, lose control of really understanding the impact of what she's doing. You know, I mean, if you're creating a reality, you know, that's a lot different than lifting plates, you know, of your mind. You know, and you know, you might not realize what you're doing. Yeah, I don't think she might be a villain. I don't think she's evil. She's no like Red Skull or something like that.
No.
She's no Nazi. But I think, you know, in terms of someone's got to stop them, you know, to protect whatever. I could definitely see it. I mean, now we got another couple days till the next episode, so we'll see.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what we learn from this next episode.
So now we're going to get to the news. And probably the biggest news is also MCU related, because, you know, now that we got solicitations done for last month. But it is that this man from my neck of the woods, Ryan Coogler, and his creative team and partners have set up for 5 years exclusive agreement with Disney Television, but will also include some Marvel projects, including a series based on Wakanda. Now,
yeah. To steal a joke title from Kyle, WandaVision was coming to Disney Plus.
Now, here's what I find surprising about this. It's not that they wanted to make a Wakanda television show. I mean, I think that's great. Mm-hmm. But with the unfortunate loss of Chadwick Boseman, I kind of figured Black Panther 2 would have to be a little bit more Wakanda focused, you know, and so to separate out what makes Black Panther 2 versus what makes the Wakanda series, I'm interested to see. I have complete faith that they have a plan, and you know, it's not completely random, but you know, I'm curious.
Yeah, and my first thought when we saw this news was that, okay, Black Panther 2 is being converted into a series instead, but that's not the case, apparently. Apparently, we are still going to get both. And yeah, like you said, I'm interested to see how they are different. You know, what characters do they highlight? If the Wakanda series is strictly based in Wakanda, what storyline are we following here? There's a lot of questions for that.
This is going back to WandaVision, but if the accent comes back, watch out. So, yeah, I guess I'm curious. Also coming to Disney Plus, we knew about this. This is one of those strange shows, but it's Behind the Mask is coming to Disney Plus, premiering on Disney Plus, but not a Disney Plus original. I don't know. So not only will Mac have to get up early to recap WandaVision, he's going to need to recap this documentary talking about the Marvel heroes and their identities.
Yeah, and so there was one thing I really liked about this trailer, and then one thing I didn't like as much. So the thing that I liked, we talking about this and the weird way in which this was announced / presented, We speculated maybe it was like meant for YouTube and then cut together into a documentary, something like that. I don't get that sense from this trailer. It feels like this was a put together project right from the beginning. Of course, it was just a trailer, so you can't really tell entirely just from that. But the one thing that I didn't like about the trailer is that it seems to focus more on the comic creators as opposed to the characters, and that not that would be uninteresting in any way, but it's going in a different direction from what I thought this would be. But again, you can't really completely tell from a trailer, so I'm excited to check it out for sure.
As well, right? They got you $6 anyway. $7. So this is, I think, important. I mean, we got Falcon and the Winter Soldier here, but Deadline is reporting that Disney's going to have 2 to 4 trailers, whatever that means, during the Super Bowl, or the big game, as we're probably contractually obligated to say. Falcon and Winter Soldier actually had one last Super Bowl, but things being what they were, what do you think they're gonna be?
Yeah, I mean, probably Falcon and Winter Soldier and another look at Loki would be my guess, just because those are the next upcoming projects. I am interested to see if Black Widow has another spot as well. I honestly don't want to see more of the movie before I actually see the movie at this point. But I'm curious. I mean, would that be the first movie to have a trailer released in 2 Super Bowls? Right? Like,
yeah, I mean, I can't. There might have been something where they did a super early teaser trailer.
Right.
But I mean, it definitely. I mean, not only you could have that twice. You could have that with Falcon, Winter Soldier. I mean, it's not a movie, but it's whatever. And Black Widow, which is, I don't know, almost takes away some of the fun unless there's a reveal. Like Black Widow, it ran its marketing campaign, and then sort of at the last minute they had to stop it. So I don't want them to. I've seen the trailer. I mean, I want them to market it because I want it to be successful. But as a fan, I don't need to see more.
Yeah, totally agree. My thought too is with the news that we also got today that Don Cheadle is reportedly showing up in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. My guess is he might have gotten the okay to talk about that because we're about to see him in a trailer for it. I mean, that would just make sense to me as well. And then Kyle mentions Raya and the Last Dragon. I would guess, yeah, we're also probably going to get a trailer for that.
Yeah, I would think that if there's 3, it would be Raya, Falcon and Winter Soldier, and Loki.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of anything that's in the near term that would be, and I feel like they might not be as likely to do something 6 months out right now. But who knows? But I'm excited. Quick plug: we will after the Super Bowl, we will. Some members of the LP team will get together and win something like this, and we'll go through whatever they've announced and kind of share our thoughts. So watch out for that Sunday night. It's not going to be super scheduled because we got to wait for the game to finish. But as soon as we can all kind of get together after the game, we'll be talking about whatever they are.
Yeah, it doesn't seem out of the realm of possibility too that we would get an Eternals trailer, right? I mean, that is the next movie up. But like you said, with scheduling being what it is, who knows?
Yeah, I also don't think they would do like 3 Marvel properties,
right?
So they don't cannibalize each other. I mean, that's really a thing either. But I think there's nothing Star Wars and I can think of. Because the next thing is the Boba Fett series, and I know it's filming, but it seems super early doing it at night.
Yeah, that seems too far out.
But in any case, you want to plug what's on Zacks of Life this week?
Yeah, so we have, I mean, obviously Kyle and I are going to break down this upcoming episode of WandaVision and then get into some more Marvel news. Not quite as in-depth as we were here today, but a little bit. We'll touch on it a little bit. And then Valentine's Day is the next holiday coming up. So, there's going to be a draft somewhat involving that.
Kyle wants to know when's drafting place coming back. I actually thought about that, and it's going to be coming back real soon. It's more of making sure Mac's available than anything else at this point. But anyway, battery's dying, so we're gonna wrap it up. Any last words?
No, I mean, I just want more WandaVision. I want it now.
Yeah, it's hard on Wednesdays because like you get in a comic book mood, you're reading them, and then you're like Thursdays is tough because you're just like, I just read all my books. I want my Marvel now.
Yeah.
But anyway, thanks so much for everybody for watching. Stay tuned at 7:30 tonight. We'll have our weekly news video so you can see what's going on across the worlds of Disney. So check us out. Bye, everybody.
Bye.